How's it going, everyone? The PlayStation Store is running its remasters and retro sale. We got some deals under $10 to go over, as we're gonna do now. Games that are gonna be in Plus Premium, end of this video, and we'll get to those at the end, but let's just cut all through that and get right into the video. And let's start things off with Assassin's Creed Rogue Remastered, 67% off at $9.89. I really enjoyed this game. I've talked about Rogue quite a bit, and I had a great time with it. You know, I didn't play much of it when it initially came out back in 2014. Same day as AC Unity came out, I believe, but it was released on the 360 and PS3. At that point, I had already moved on to the PS4. Wasn't really playing my PS3 much, and AC Rogue ended up getting a remaster, and then I realized, holy hell, this game is actually really good. Great main character, solid story, a lot of resemblances to Assassin's Creed 4, which is my favorite Assassin's Creed game of all time, and overall a quality Assassin's Creed game that some of you guys may have missed out on. Last I played it on the PlayStation 5, it didn't have an upgrade, and I don't think they're going to upgrade this game. It's just a lower key title, so that's a little bit of a bummer, but still a worthwhile game, and it runs well enough, so $9.89 for that is quite good. Next up, we got Catherine Full Body Edition, 75% off for $9.99. Honestly, one of the best deals running right now. Catherine is one of those games that, yes, it might look a little bit, you know, out of your wheelhouse, maybe not a game you'd completely enjoy, but man, just give it a shot, and you're probably going to really enjoy it. Narratively, it's a strong game, and the puzzle gameplay I wasn't super hot on, but some people really enjoyed it, and it is a unique design for how it does its gameplay, but narratively is what really hooked me. And this is a game that I would recommend, you know, if you want a game to play and have like a significant other or something watch while you play and just get hooked into the story. This is one of those games, like a lot of those Quantic Dream titles, that it really offers that as well. So 75% off, $9.99, I think that's a good buy. Next up, Devil May Cry HD Collection, 67% off for $9.89. You got DMC1, DMC2, and DMC3. Now, these games are incredibly iconic action titles. However, they are action titles from the early 2000s, so if you pick this up, know what you're getting yourself into. These games definitely have some janky elements to them. The camera sometimes is not the best, and everybody hates Devil May Cry 2. I didn't hate Devil May Cry 2 as much as everybody else, but it's definitely by far the weakest Devil May Cry in the franchise. DMC1 and DMC3 were literally like elite tier action games when they came out. Those games were just raved about back in the day. And DMC2 was quite a bit of a fall-off from those two games, but great games, and I'm sure a lot of you guys got introduced with Devil May Cry with DMC5. That game was tremendous, and if you want the overall, you know, story of Devil May Cry's narrative hasn't really been something that really hooked me. However, these are just solid action titles, even if they are a little bit dated at this stage of the game. Sub $10, I think, is a pretty good pickup. Next up, pair of games I always recommend, Metro Redux Collection, 80% off, $5.99. If you're a Plus subscriber, $4.49. What a tremendous deal for two incredible atmospheric, narrative-driven first-person shooters. These games have such great story. They're a little bit more on the mature and darker side. Had a fantastic time with it, and I always say this about Metro, but this game does a phenomenal job with its design and its soundtrack presentation to really like absorb you into the world of the game. It's a very atmospheric game is what I'm trying to get at, and $4.49 for both 2033 and Last Light. Tremendous deal. You'll play these two, you'll like them so much, you'll probably end up getting Exodus right away, but wait for the Exodus Gold Edition to go on sale for like sub $10 and pick that up too, because that's a pretty good game. $4.49 for both of these is one of the best deals you're going to come across, so go check that out. Next up, we got Shadow Tactics Blades of the Shogun, 90% off for $4.99. Tactics-based title. You guys know me, I'm not huge on these games, but love me some XCOM, Shadow Tactics. Really dig the setting of this game, and that's what really hooked me into that game. It can get pretty difficult, but it's got a variety of different difficulty options as well, so if you want an easier experience, you can get that as well. Really like the visual style to this game. I thought it did the setting justice. Gameplay is solid. If you're into tactical titles, you're going to enjoy it quite a bit, and this is a great price for it as well. Works relatively decently on a controller. I know this is the type of game that is more suited towards a keyboard and mouse, but I had a fairly good time with it. There is a demo available if you want to check that out, but $5 for it, I think, is a good enough buy that you should just pick it up. Next up, we got Dishonored Definitive Definitive Edition, 60% off for $7.99. For whatever reason, Dishonored Definitive Edition sometimes just goes on sale for like 10 bucks and doesn't really fall below that a lot of times. Here we have it for $7.99. I love Dishonored. I played this game right when it came out back in 2012 on PC, and had a fantastic time with it. And it's a game that has such a great art style that it has aged pretty well. Like, obviously it doesn't look like a 2022 PS5 game or anything like that, but it's a solid looking game, and gameplay wise is where this game shines. There's a variety of different ways you can tackle the situations, and yeah, you can go more of an action oriented approach. I think the silent approach is probably the more rewarding approach, but whatever you want to do, you can do. Narratively, it's a strong game, and of course Dishonored 2 is also a pretty solid game, so go check that out after you play through Dishonored 1, but $8 for this, quite a good deal. Next up, we got the last Remnant Remastered, 50% off for $9.99. This is a very underrated JRPG that I often just try to get the word out about it. I'm not gonna try to tell you guys it's the best JRPG of all time, or it's even, you know, among the top 20 or, you know, 20% of JRPGs, but it is a pretty solid game that had a weird release where it only came out on the 360 and PC back in 2008, had a lot of technical issues at launch, but this version obviously remedies those issues. I didn't get super hooked into the narrative, but I thought it was fairly decent, and the battle style was super interesting as well. Check out the game for yourself. If you've exhausted through a bunch of the other JRPGs, this is one that kind of slips through the cracks a lot of the times. $9.99 for it I think is pretty good. One of the more interesting and unique JRPGs that Square Enix has put out. Next up, want to give a shout out to Quantic Dream's Indigo Prophecy, Fahrenheit, as a lot of you guys would know it as. Whenever I talk about Quantic Dream titles, a lot of you guys bring up Indigo Prophecy and why I never talk about it. Well, I just don't see it go on sale all that often, but here it is. It's on sale, 60% off for $6. A lot of you guys consider this to be the best Quantic Dream title as well. The issue with Indigo Prophecy, that if you're going into it for the first time, is it definitely shows its age. And I played this game well after it came out, so, you know, that definitely was a jarring aspect to the game itself. Narratively, it's obviously an incredibly strong game. It has a lot of things a lot of little things that you could miss, so bear that in mind as well. But if you're a fan of story-driven games, if you want a story-driven adventure title, Indigo Prophecy is a really great one, and it's one of the more iconic games in gaming history, to be perfectly honest. It was like a pretty big, like, I remember hearing about this game when it came out, but I didn't check it out until years and years later. This type of game wasn't really up my alley back then. And again, going into it in 2022, definitely you're gonna be a little bit like, whoa, this game definitely does show its age a little bit, but give it a shot. You're probably gonna end up enjoying it if you can get past some of the dated elements. Wonky camera in there as well, but for $6, I think that's a pretty good buy. Lastly, we'll cover two games that will be PlayStation Plus Premium titles, or PlayStation Plus Extra if you go that subscription route. WipEout Omega Collection, 60% off for $7.99. This is just a tremendous deal for a great arcade racer. You know, WipEout is one of those franchises that a lot of people that have an attachment towards the franchise want to see it come back. I just don't know if it's gonna come back, but the Omega Collection, if it's the last we see of WipEout, it's a great way to go out. It encompasses the content from WipEout HD, WipEout HD Fury, and WipEout 2048, the PlayStation Vita title, all in this collection. It's great. It's a futuristic arcade racer, just a lot of fun, has a pretty good VR component as well. All of that for $8 I think is solid. And then lastly, Far Cry 3 Classic Edition, 67% off for $9.89. Really can't write home about the remaster or the upgrade itself, but Far Cry 3 is such a classic. Hell, it's called the Classic Edition, that I want to give it a recommendation. You know, has one of the best main villains that you'll see out of a game, and really, he's the star of the show. As far as the game itself, this is kind of the game that really popularized Far Cry even more so than Far Cry 2. Far Cry 2, don't get it twisted, a lot of people love that game, and that game actually did relatively well from a commercial standpoint from what I remember, but Far Cry 3 kind of made the franchise explode, and you see the Far Cry 3 fundamentals still being retained to this day. It works, and Far Cry 3 was really the one that hooked me into the franchise. Even though I played Far Cry 2, Far Cry 3 was the one that I got super into. For sub $10, I think it's a pretty good buy, and I would give it a look. So, those last two games, again, if you're a Plus Premium subscriber, probably just play it that way. I think for the most part, all of these games, from what I know, are not in Plus Premium as of the recording of this video. The full lineup is still to come out, so bear that in mind before you buy anything. That's probably a good idea unless you're eager to play something. I mean, Metro Redux sub $5 is such a good deal that that might be worth checking out. But that's gonna do it for me. Again, a lot of great deals. Links to everything in the description box down below. As always, thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.